ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Sitting in tonight, Carol Simpson.
Good evening. We begin tonight with one of the biggest naval deployments since the Vietnam War. 2 aircraft carriers, along with their support ships, steamed out of their home ports today to start a 2-week voyage that will place them within striking distance of targets in Iraq and Kuwait. The carriers and one more already underway will double the number of sea-launched warplanes that the president, were he to give the order, could send into action. Here's ABC's David Ensor.
The 2 aircraft carriers, the Teddy Roosevelt and the America, left Norfolk today. A total of 17 ships are leaving from 5 East Coast ports. 16,000 sailors and Marines are on board. Navy officials say all these ships will be in place by January 15th, the UN's deadline for Iraq to get out of Kuwait. The 2 carrier groups trained last month in the Caribbean, specifically for deployment in the Persian Gulf. The admiral in charge says they are now ready for whatever the president orders.
We replicated as many things as we thought that Saddam might try, or anyone else, as a matter of fact, because they have to be ready for all types of problems.
The U.S. Navy already has 3 carrier groups in the region, 40 combat ships, plus at least 10 support vessels. Officials say by mid-January, that will grow to 109 ships, including 6 aircraft carriers with more than 500 combat aircraft. The big flotilla is part of a strategy designed to avoid mistakes Pentagon officials believe were made in the Vietnam War. Instead of a gradual escalation of combat, this buildup allows the president to call up air attacks and marine landings on a scale administration officials say would be sudden, massive, and decisive. David Ensor, ABC News, the Pentagon.
Personnel at an airbase in the Gulf went to yellow alert today after detecting what military officials say was a missile test inside Iraq. The alert required service personnel to put on protective clothing to shield them from the possibility of poison gas. American troops in the Gulf will also be getting new protection against the possibility of germ warfare. Vaccinations against some of the deadly agents that could be used in an attack. Here's ABC's Dennis Trout.
The Pentagon says the kind of gas masks already on hand in Saudi Arabia work well against biological warfare agents if soldiers know an attack is coming. But the military wants vaccinations as an extra measure of protection because a deadly biological attack could be difficult to detect. Agents such as anthrax, for example, do not cause any symptoms for hours, but generally are fatal. CIA Director William Webster warned in September that Iraq had stockpiled sizable quantities of biological weapons, and former intelligence officials claim Iraq has developed its arsenal at a plant southeast of Baghdad, shown in this satellite photo. Inoculating frontline soldiers will not start for a few weeks yet.
It takes a good deal of time to produce this vaccine. We don't routinely keep large amounts of this kind of material on the shelves.
For example, the anthrax serum is produced only by one laboratory and until now has been used by just a few handlers of imported animal hides. There's not enough for U.S. soldiers and certainly not enough for Saudi civilians. That's a sensitive diplomatic point because many analysts say that if biological weapons are used, they'll be used against civilian targets. Even giving soldiers vaccinations will be complicated. There are different vaccines for different biological agents, and some require a series of shots taking up to a month to achieve full immunity. And some analysts warn that Iraq may be developing new biological agents for which the U.S. has no vaccine. Dennis Trout, ABC News, Washington.
If American forces are ordered to invade Kuwait, they will have to dislodge Iraqi troops who have been fortifying their entrenchments for months. This afternoon, we talked with a man in Kuwait who wanted to be identified only as a Kuwaiti citizen. He said Iraqi forces, facing virtually no Kuwaiti resistance, are today digging in deeper and deeper.
The soldiers themselves have been kept busy for the past 2 weeks building trenches on the coastal line, plus on the going into the houses where are located on the highways to to just take positions in case of an attack. Kuwaiti resistance has died down. There is nothing these days because the punishment is so severe.
This man said the Kuwaiti people continue to be subjected to arrest, torture, and execution. The Iraqi Foreign Minister Tariq Aziz told reporters tonight that talks between the U.S. and Iraq are still possible, but he said it's up to the U.S. to make a move. Asked if he sees any chance for new movement in the standoff, Aziz replied, "God knows."